Vault Talks, women share to be bold and take risks. Vault Talks, women say what they feel and mean what they say. Yeah. Vault Talks, believe in your power, so much power. Yeah. Vault Talks, your women share, women share. Hey, everybody. We are running this show with one of our ladies missing, but we going to make it do what it do. Happy Thursday to all of you guys. We're excited that you guys are in the building. Vault Talks Women Share is here. Isha, what's going on with you, girl?
A lot and nothing at the same time. I am excited that my niece was born today.
Oh, how exciting.
Made her appearance into the world. So I'm going to see her in the morning. You know, with COVID, they limit the amount of visitors that could be in the hospital. So
I know. That's amazing. Well, we've been here and haven't been here all in the same. We've been gone for a whole week, which always seems like 2 or 3 weeks that pass. So I know in Chicago the weather is cold. It is officially fall. Okay. No nice day, no Indian summer. It's officially fall.
yeah.
Okay? And I'm not happy about it at all. Whatever.
There's no in between in Chicago. It's just hot, cold.
It's hot, cold, whatever, and then deal with it. And I believe COVID really messed up a whole lot because I like doing things downtown and being by the lake and like COVID just was like screw it. And so I did have an opportunity a couple weeks ago. One of my really great friends came to visit for her birthday, and we had an amazing time downtown. But we really weren't able to explore downtown because it's not the same at all whatsoever. So normally, people come from all around the world literally to touch the bean, and we couldn't even touch the bean. It didn't feel right. It was all blocked off, but just the vibe of, seeing people from different nationalities and, just that whole Chicago vibe. It was really dope to be a part of that. But other than that, it's like, okay, it's here and deal with it. So on Vault Talks Women Share, for those of you who are first-time listeners or viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. There's a lot of things that you guys can be doing on a Thursday night or whenever you're catching this, but you guys are here with us, and that means a lot. So Vault Talks Women Share is indeed a platform where women can come together to learn more and share more about matters which pertain to their world. It's indeed on this platform here that we talk about entrepreneurship, sisterhood, fashion, and of course, ways to be empowered as women. But every fourth Thursday, it's he said, she said, they share all things relationships. So it's going down. We have 2 epic, amazing, dope men on the platform getting ready to be raw and real with all of us. So you don't want to go anywhere. Stay tuned. And you definitely want to invite a friend if you have a friend. So share this broadcast with somebody, everybody, and we're really excited to be here. So yes, we're missing you, Liz, but you're tuning in and we love you for it. So all right, so we're gonna go ahead and go into our favorite part of the show, or Isha's favorite part of the show, as she's doing her little twirly dance over there. So for those of you who don't know, now you know, we're getting ready to talk about it's quote time. But before I do that, I feel led to ask anybody, if you guys want to be a part of our show, make sure that you email us down below. So VTWS, which stands for Vault Talks Women Share, at VOSINC.com. So we are really working to schedule out our whole entire first quarter here soon. So if you want to be on our show, let us know. Oh, I'm rhyming. If you want to be on our show, let us know. We're excited to have new faces on the platform. So we're thankful for all you guys that are tuning in and also that want to be on our show. So if you're not following us on IG, shame on you. We are indeed on Instagram. Really simple, vault_talks. I used to make it really long. So yeah, hallelujah for growth. Vault Talks, really simple. So you can follow us on IG as well. So with that all being said, quiet, it's quote time. Come on, Isha.
Okay, so tonight, as we are talking about relationships, the quote is, you can't give something that you don't have, so always be in a position to receive. You
Yes.
can't give something that you don't have, so always be in a position to receive. And I thought about this, like I said, as I was thinking about relationships, we don't come to the relationship, with everything intact. We don't know all the answers. We don't know, everything to do. Um, so just being able to learn from your partner, or some of the things that you don't know. A lot of us didn't grow up with that example of what a relationship is supposed to look like. uh is that Tim?
Yes.
She was cracking up over there.
Because he's
um
being obnoxious.
but yeah, just not having that example of what a relationship looks like, we don't always know, the right thing to do. So when we do
Right.
get with our partner or significant other, it's just like we sometimes learn as we go, but we're in a position sometimes where we don't want to learn. Like, we have our pride and we don't want to receive any type of correction, criticism, feedback about the way that we, carry on throughout the relationship.
Right.
So, if there is something that you are lacking to give in the relationship, be open to receive that, because you can't give that of which you don't have. So be open to receive that knowledge, that criticism, that understanding, in order to be able to reciprocate or give off whatever it is that the relationship is lacking. So
Ooh.
just kind of let your guards down, set your pride aside, and be willing to learn and grow.
I love that. I love that. And it's really key because the thing is that I know for me, every relationship has taught me something,
Mm-hmm.
right? It teaches you either, to I remember one relationship, I'll say this, that he would always challenge me, what do you gotta say? What do you gotta say? What do you gotta say? And I was like, nothing. And he was like, well, why not? And he was like, Takara, I know you got something to say. And so he literally helped me to break the barrier of actually owning my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're in a domestic violence relationship, male or female, emotional abuse is real, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so a lot of times your voice is stripped away from you and you don't feel like it's valid.
Right.
And so this was the relationship right after I got out of that one. And when we would, have a disagreement and I wouldn't say anything, I just like, I just wouldn't say anything. And he'd be like, you ain't got nothing to say? I'm like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
And I give him that look like, nope, I ain't got nothing to say. And he'd be looking like, okay, Takara, you're pretty vocal at times, but right here, you don't want to say anything? No. So I had to learn how to communicate. And now I'm in a relationship where I can talk and I am heard, and good, bad, ugly. And they always have some type of perspective or hits me with a Bible quote or verse to make me snap out of my feelings all the way. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, dang, but you're really saying dang in a really great way. So, you may be on that end where you don't have anything to say at that moment, but positioning yourself to receive will give you something to say later on.
Mm-hmm.
So being open to receiving is huge. And a lot of people are closed off just because of what they've been through, the
Right.
trauma, the emotional baggage, the limiting beliefs, whatever that may look like. So they don't even want to think about, why should I receive that? In the past, when I received that, would happen. So, why do I want to open the door to that all over again, to even position myself in that same place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot going on with that, but your quote is so important because you want to make sure that you're giving from a good place as well. You
Right.
don't want to be giving from a place that's draining, or you're frustrated, so then you're just spewing, and now you're spewing bitterness and brokenness and all these other elements that don't help anybody. Just real talk.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, that is so true. Like I can definitely relate with, having your voice stripped away and not really wanting to express. You want to, but then again, you feel like, what's the point? Because I know what's going to come after that. And it's just like, okay, I might as well not even say anything. I mean, we deal with a lot within relationships. Relationships are a lot of work and a lot comes with them. But
say
yeah,
that again.
right. I mean, we don't really know what we sign up for, and I think we talked about this last time. It's just like, I like you, you like me, let's get together. And not really knowing, what all comes with that. And it's a lot that's going to be unveiled within the interaction of you and this other person. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about them. It's not just about, learning the other person. You're going
Right,
to see the side of yourself that you never seen and uncover some things that you didn't even know was there
right,
throughout, the time period of relationships. So it's just like, be ready. We have to be ready and be open to receive as well as to give. It's just
right.
that constant cycle of,
Yes.
reciprocity, give and take, that type of thing.
And making the decision when you go into relationships, because people go into relationships for the wrong reasons. That's a whole nother he said, she said, they said. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
People go into relationships for all the wrong reasons. And when you do enter a relationship, you have to make that decision that, okay, no matter what happens, I'm going to stay here. And
Right.
a lot of times we're like, I'll stay here if I'll stay here, but if you we're not perfect individuals. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
really be honest and say that. And if you are committed to a relationship, first of all, let's back up. First, be committed to the relationship with self. Okay. That's huge. Be committed to the relationship that you have with yourself. When you're committed to the relationship that you have with yourself, you have the capacity to literally help anybody and build anybody that you're in a relationship with,
Mm-hmm.
that you're wanting to go through the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs with. You're committed to that process. So a lot of people just aren't committed to the process because they're so emotional and they're so attached to, well, how I feel and what I think and da 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 da. They're not really wanting to be in a relationship with somebody else to be able to even hold space for them to
Mm-hmm.
grow and stretch and be. And a lot of people just are like in a relationship, especially now that it is indeed fall, it's cuffing season. People just want to be in a relationship to say that they got something nice and warm in the bed, or
Right.
they got something where they can do Netflix and chill. Like, raw reasons to be in a relationship. Now, that's probably the next he said, she said that we have to do. Actually, the one in December, because we already got November booked. But, anyways, I digress, as I'm learning to say.
Yeah, this is definitely good. And that is a good topic of discussion that we definitely need to hit on. It's just like the reasons why people get in certain relationships. We're just not really aware. Like I said, we don't have that example, or whatever it is paved out for us to say this is how it's supposed to be. There is no handbook, no guidebook to relationships that we get. Some people
Woo.
are in relationships from high school, and it's just like you learn to grow together, either you grow apart. So it's just like working together, learning yourself, and just kind of living life.
Yeah, yeah. But that goes back to being committed to owning your identity. Be committed
Mm-hmm.
to knowing who you are
Mm-hmm.
and enjoying that process, because it is a process and it's amazing. I mean, there's highs and lows, of course. There's work that needs to be done, of course. But when you can really do that, you can really be in a healthy relationship no matter what you've gone through. So I see these guys, they're adjusting cameras, they're adjusting mics back here,
They ready.
backstage. They ready for us. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and transition. But before we do, I gotta bring this back up on the stage, on the platform. Liz says sometimes you have to sit and observe. Learn how to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Both parties are learning each other and being open to the possibilities without judgment. Absolutely. Judgment and expectations. I am so learning how we place expectations on people, and shame on us for doing that. Shame on us.
I think you should just get rid of them. Like when dealing with people, you should have no expectations because you're going to end up being disappointed
All the
every
time.
time.
Every
And
time.
just be open to, what that person, who and what that person is, what they have to offer. And the
Yeah.
main thing is just patience.
Yeah, we don't like to let that word come out of our mouth because, boy, oh boy, when you say patience, that means prepare yourself for the process. Like, and it don't have an expiration date. Okay, it ain't gonna come with one. So that's a whole nother. That's good. We going into January 2021. We can talk about he said, she said, they share. But we are not going to belabor the time any longer. We're going to bring these men to the platform. We have Marcus Norman, first timer to the platform. And then we have the one, the only Timothy Moore, aka the Clarity Doctor, into his house for show. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be on your show.
He got
I'm excited.
He got that dope setup. He's
ready. He got that deep microphone voice, everything.
Yeah, he ready. He ready.
Sing a song, bro.
Only you. No, I can't do it right now.
Man, I was waiting, dude. I was like,
yo,
oh,
exactly.
Man.
They're like, oh, they weren't joking. They weren't joking. They were dead serious. I'm like, yo.
Look, I got my popcorn right across from me. I was ready. Come on here. All right. So I love this. So thank you guys so much. There's tons of things you guys can be doing on a Thursday night, and you guys are here with us. So if you guys don't know, we prepare questions for y'all. We come ready. We stay ready here on Talks Women Share. And not only that, but we also got Liz in the comments. She said
you better sing. She was ready. She gonna do a duet with you next time.
Yeah,
I see.
She's a singer. She created our theme show music. That's Liz singing on the hook on the ones and twos there. But anyways,
thank you, Liz.
Yes. Oh, every time you talk, you got that voice. Oh my god, I didn't realize.
It's the microphone. It's the microphone.
Oh, I need to grab me one of them. Do that.
Thank you, Liz. I do. Can I say thank you, Liz, too? Thank you, Liz. I appreciate you.
Oh my god.
That Luther. He got that Luther.
This is hilarious.
Skinny Luther.
I'm done. Marcus, tell us about who Marcus Norman is.
Marcus Norman is a real estate investor, entrepreneur, getter, business owner, going to school, have the podcast like you so graciously brought up earlier, Gentleman Style Podcast. I'm the host, producer, and editor of that show, and trying to change the dynamic, change the scope for Black communities and Black couples and Black relationships with platforms like this through media, trying to change the dynamic. So that's who I am.
We appreciate you being here. Clarity Doctor, drop a few nuggets for us real quick. Let us know
who am I? That's a good question. Let's see. I am a speaker, motivator, visionary perception and perspective coach. And I help life coaches, entrepreneurs, and small businesses create a clear, concise, and compelling vision so they can break through invisible barriers, so they can launch their dream and their vision with success. That's who I am. That's what I do. This is my boo, and I love all of you. I'm trying to be true. Now I'm through. All right.
You're so sweet.
Oh my goodness, Tim came prepared.
He did.
I was off the dome. That's how I roll. You didn't know? That's why I got that glow for sure.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome, Isha. That's how he flows. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I love it though.
That's dope.
He's indeed Timothy Moore. I love it. So we're gonna dive in. Y'all ready for us? So tonight's topic, we're talking about the roles of men and women within relationships. So when we came up with this, we were thinking from the standpoint of basically things have changed and the roles have changed from, I know when I was growing up, Isha growing up, and now we're in times of COVID. We're going to talk about that as well. So just being able to really define what does it mean to be a man and a woman within a relationship. For the sake of this topic, since it's he said, she said, they share, we're talking about romantic relationships, right? Or maybe situationships for some people out there. So this is a no
Entanglements, right?
Right.
Entanglements, right?
Entangled ships.
Entangled ships. All right, now that's gonna be in the Urban Dictionary.
Hey, look here. I'm
What's
in
your
an
name
entangled
next
ship.
to it? Yeah, okay. All right. So let's start here. Is it safe to say, I should say, is it safe to say that COVID has changed the times or what an understanding of a relationship is?
Mm.
It has. It has. It has changed the relationship dynamic. It has forced couples to focus on what should have been the focus in the beginning before COVID. And couples now, we are experiencing the quality time that we should have been experiencing before COVID. And now it's forcing couples to now connect in ways, in different ways, because you can't go to dinner, you can't go to movies, you can't go to restaurants. So how do you continue to court this young woman, this young man that is loved you and married you for decades, for years, for months? So it has definitely forced us to change the way we love on our partners, and it's forced couples to take a hard look at what probably should have been the focus all along.
Timothy?
You know, I'm sitting there thinking about that. Uh, I put it like this. I would assume that it's forcing them to, and I say that because like with you, just coming in, already having the ability to communicate, to talk, to work through stuff, and already being in that place is kind of different versus being with someone that you didn't have that foundation with. So I'm just kind of looking backwards. Like if I would have still be in my previous relationship, we'd be dead or be in jail at this time. I'm
Well,
so serious because it would have forced us to do something we neither was willing to do. So if you're not willing to do it, that's a wrap. And I think it would have just exposed it even more that hey, y'all just not for each other. So um it's gonna force you to do something. And Marcus looked on the bright side, it's like, oh, it's gonna force you to work on it. Well, it could just force you to go ahead and sign those papers. I'm just keeping it real, uh but it's going to force you to have to make a decision. And whatever decision that you make, hopefully it's
Yeah.
going to be better for the both of you. Whereas you might have been on the fence between fixing it and on the fence between quitting, you know, COVID is going to make you decide right about now.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, so let me share where I was coming. Oh no, go ahead, Isha. What do you have to say?
um, y'all both made some good points. Um, Marcus, you said it forces us to focus on things that we probably should have been focusing on. I guess with the relationship, especially before COVID, we kind of focus on things that we were used to. And now, since
Mm,
things have changed, it's just like now we have to shift our focus. So, whereas we didn't really have to, probably communicate as much because we're at work, a majority of our day. So now that we're at home, we have to kind of work on those things. Like you said, we are forced to do that. It probably should have been focused on before, but it probably wasn't an issue before because we're not, in each other's presence as much before COVID hit. We have our own thing going, everybody's busy, we are working, we come home and we do this routine thing,
right.
you know. But now the routine has changed, and that's hard for people, especially me, sometimes to get used to that change, especially when it's quick and it's unexpected. So yeah, it definitely forced us to kind of readjust in the best way that we knew how when it comes to relationships. But just to say, is this something that probably should have been? It just depends on the dynamic of the relationship pre-COVID. You know what I mean? But it's always good to develop those skills, especially because things like this obviously come up. They happen. So,
Right.
you know, it's a blessing and a curse in it. Does it help understand the roles within the relationship is what the question is asking. Yeah, because it hit us with a lot of different things that we were not expecting, especially, you know, with the economy, the money situation, job loss, you know, that type of thing. When we talk about roles, we always look at the men to be, you know, the main provider, typically.
Right.
So, you know, that's something I know that had to be readjusted in conversations about, you know, budget or whatever within the household. So it's definitely shed a different light on the roles. But I'm gonna wait till we get more into the conversation to speak on that. But Sakara, you can tell us where you was coming from.
Where I was coming from.
Mhm.
So I've been speaking to a lot of people just in reference to how their household has changed now that COVID has happened. And so what made me think about this is that, you know, you have some men and women that are nurses, right? And they're in the hospitals, right? So, you know, them coming home, having to, you know, switch roles, one dealing with the kids, doing after school, you know, doing homework. Now it's e-learning because we don't call it homeschool. School, it's e-learning, right? And then, you know, making dinner, you know, making sure that their child's home from basketball practice. If they're not e-learning, if they're at one of these schools that are actually, you know, in full force, you know, so it just led me to think about how hopefully in some of these relationships where the frequency of communication is turned up and actually been one that's been on one accord, because the thing is that COVID hit and it just knocked people off, you know, the Richter. When I think of how COVID hit, I think of like of an earthquake and people like just doing the matrix, like trying to figure out how to even get themselves back to a strong footing. And so what I was just thinking about is that, you know, normally the man is the breadwinner, you know, so maybe that role reversal it has taken place since COVID. So emotions and feelings around some men just having to be okay with the wife being the one that's out here, you know, and if they're a non-traditional guy, they might be struggling with that mentally, right? You know, just what does that look like? How does that affect the relationship now that roles have changed because COVID has come and, you know, has shaken up what are the foundation of what people were comfortable with, what they've known for years. Then you have some couples that are like, I'm not going back to work. You know, I have all these hopes and dreams that I've been wanting to pursue. So now I want to step into entrepreneurship. So how does that ruffle affect a relationship now that someone's thinking cap is really on? Like, dude, hold on here. This 9 to 5 ain't promised, but I got a whole journal and notebook full of stuff that I really want to do. And now that I get a whole hour lunch break and I don't have to go to sit in Chipotle or somewhere, I'm at home. I can spend an hour doing what I'm doing. So now that I've been doing this for 3-4 months, I've ignited a passion of mine that has been sitting dormant for years. And if COVID wasn't here to introduce that, then I wouldn't be doing ABC. So how do you introduce that and have those lines of communication within the relationship now that you're wanting to ignite your dreams and all these things because COVID is here? So how is that really affecting the household? That's where I was coming from with that.
So love does not change.
Come on,
right?
Marcus.
True love does not change. I don't care what COVID does, right? I don't care what COVID is doing. True love is not going to change. It could get rocky. It could get shaky. Daycare could go away. Daycare could come back. My job could go away. Job can come back. Love does not change. So you mentioned the dynamic is going to change based off of what's happening in the season. It doesn't matter if you love me. It doesn't matter if you love me. We're going to get through this no matter what because we love each other and we committed each other. So the love doctor, the relationship, the clarity doctor, touched on what I was trying to be.
You did not say the love doctor, bruh.
The clarity doctor.
Look here.
Touched on.
Come on with the new name. Come on.
The clarity doctor touched on it. The man behind you. You touched on it, right? And I was trying to be humble about it. But yes, it's going to force you to look at whether this relationship is going to withstand the test of time or not. But if you love me, that's not going to change. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through. I need people to fight for their marriage. And the COVID-19, the daycares, all of that is forcing people to take a hard look and probably realize that we haven't probably been in love for a long time.
For a long time. Come on.
That's where the divorce comes from. That's where the separation comes from. We weren't in love because we were focusing on the things that weren't really important. My job, daycare, none of that matters. None of that matters. If you love me, I didn't marry my job. I didn't marry any of that. I married you. So we could sit here and blame COVID-19. We could sit here and blame all the things that don't matter in a relationship. Everybody wants to point the thing at COVID. No one wants to point the finger at themselves. I caused my relationship to fail because I wasn't focused on who was my partner. Who was I married to? People, if you ever look at relationships, if you ever look at a real solid track record of divorce usually happens around the 18 to 20 year mark. 25 if you're lucky. What changed? Well, the kids went away. And now I'm forced to look at the person that I've been married to for 20 years. And I realize now all of a sudden I'm no longer in love. Well, you haven't been in love in 20 years. You fell out of love 10 years ago. And now here comes the divorce. Why? Is your outlet? What do you do when you get mad? I'm taking the kids. Well, where's dad? Where's mom? Oh, she's staying home. We going somewhere. I'm taking the kids. I'm doing something separate from my partner. But when the kids up and leave, you have to look back at the person that you married. And now you're looking at a stranger versus what should have been the focus all along.
That is so, man, that's on point. And that's exactly, man, you said it way better than I did. But just to kind of even move further into that, COVID is just another storm.
It is.
And these relationships have been going through storms the whole time. They've been struggling with their roles the whole time. And all it took was the right thing to make them take a look at it. And that's what COVID is doing, because not only were they struggling with their roles, they had outlets where they could run away from each other, where it looked like the grass was greener on the other side, as Liz said. But now I have to sit back and decide, do I even want this new role with this person?
Yep.
Now that they're saying all these things. So again, I really have to look at my own heart. We have to look at our own hearts and say, do I want to fight for this marriage? And if COVID doesn't break it up, it'll just be something else. It'll be swine flu. If it ain't the swine flu, it'll be Trump getting reelected. I mean, something is going to challenge your role in the relationship if you're not in love, if you're not committed to it.
That's good. That's good. Love it. All right, we're going to go on to the next question here. Is the relationship role 24/7?
Wow.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes,
Marcus
it is.
wastes no time.
I know. He don't be playing. He be that Family Feud. Yes.
Right. All right. Tell us why, Marcus. Why do you say yes?
It is. The relationship is on 24/7. If I'm not loving my wife, if I'm not satisfying her, everything else can go to hell. Nothing else matters, because I made a commitment to her. The commitment, the one thing when I talk to couples, when I ask them, I said, what circumstances would you ever leave your wife? Would you ever leave your husband? And people can name off a list. They can count off a list of things. But the one statement I'm waiting for that I never get is, under no circumstances would I leave my spouse. That's the one statement I never get.
Wow.
So you've developed a list of things that you would leave, but you never committed to the relationship and said, under no circumstances would I leave my partner. And that is where we need to get back to. There are no circumstances, there are no dynamics that I would leave my partner. And I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about what you mentioned earlier, the abusive, the emotional traumas, because that can get dangerous. I'm talking about, I'm not in love anymore, so this needs to end. Or just like Miss Elizabeth said, the grass is greener, so I'm going over here. That is not it. We need to focus more on our relationships, and we need to focus on our relationships 24/7, because that's who I committed to. That's where my heart lies. That's where my treasure is. And a good woman, a good man will bring out the best of you no matter what you're doing in life.
Mm.
Yeah.
I would say, I think, if I understood the question correctly, is the relationship role 24/7? And so in my mind, I'm thinking like the previous question was how COVID is challenging the roles in the relationship. So whatever role you feel like you're in, do you remain in that role 24/7? Or are there dynamics where you might change roles depending on what's going on? That's what I was thinking. Is that what you meant?
I'm not the ask. I didn't. That wasn't my question.
Well,
Oh.
that was actually my question.
Oh, okay. Break it down, influencer. Is that what you meant or not?
Not necessarily. So with this, it was real simple, real basic. When I say is the relationship role 24/7, I mean thinking of, okay, it takes two people to constitute a relationship, right? But before you got together, you were an individual. So we go off and do our individual things throughout the day. Of course, when it's not like a out of sight, out of mind type of thing. When you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship regardless whether you're in this person's presence or not. But it's just like, are we supposed to commit to focusing on the relationship 24/7? Like, are we in that role of girlfriend or wife or husband or, that spouse constantly? Or is there a time where we break away from that in order to, just kind of not be in that role and focus on self?
Hmm.
I would say, yeah. I mean, but I don't think that focusing and looking at yourself constitutes that you're not thinking about the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if you take that time to work on self and to build self and become a better person, ultimately you're thinking about them
Mm-hmm.
because you come back from your place like improved because you took that time to not so much constantly worrying about how they doing, where they at, are they happy, all these different things. When I say worrying, but you're taking because there people are in God's hands. I mean, let's back up. I don't have to worry about anybody. I mean, there's each person, there's providence upon our lives and they're sufficient. So I'm conscious and aware of my role, but I'm also conscious and aware of my individuality. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have to take the time to think about who I am, where I'm going, what the vision is, and making sure I come back to the table and be like, all right, this is what I got. How can we manage this together? Because this is what I got. So if I said that correctly, so it's not that I forget about you. I'm aware of you, but at this point, my focus is me.
Yeah,
I think that's part of self care.
absolutely. And that's what I was getting at. It's just like you said, if you're working on self, ultimately your partner is going to benefit from, your improvements or whatnot. But it's just like, I know the things that come along with the role of the relationship can be a lot. You know what I mean? So just breaking. Look who popped in the show. Hey, babe. Anyway, like I was saying,
Oh.
just having time to kind of break away from, I'm gonna take a day off. I'm not cooking dinner tonight, even though that's a part of my role per se, just kind of taking that time off because it's without the relationship, we do have a lot of other things that, we have to tend to. So we, especially as women, we tend to the kids and it's just like taking that break. It's not to say that we don't care or we just want to leave. It's just like taking a break. So
And
I don't.
it's a conversation. No, you wouldn't just run off and not cook without telling your boo. Just bounce. He
Let's
come home
ask
and
her.
you.
Let's
Look,
ask her. Right
Let's
here.
ask him.
no, I would not do that. If I may, Tim and I, we communicate a lot, a whole lot. and that helps, strengthen the relationship when you just look. He might not want to hear it, I might not want to hear it, but we share it and then we work through it and then keep it moving. So that's important. I don't often
Did
say,
you?
"Oh, I'm taking a break."
But you didn't leave the relationship. You leaned on the relationship. Hey, boo, I'm not doing this today. Can you do it? You didn't leave it. You
Yeah.
leaned in it.
Come on, Marcus.
I told you would like him, Isha. He always got something to say. Yeah. But that's just communicating. That's effective communication. Just saying, hey, is it okay for me not to be okay today? And in that state, I'm asking for you to do this for me. Is that so
Here you go, right here though. The scripture says, "He that is married cares for the things of his wife and the world, and how he may please his wife." So there is that aspect that when you do get married, there is a call, and we're talking about marriage, to constantly and continuously be concerned about the things of the world and how to please your wife. And even Paul said, you know what?
Marcus in these spaces right
You know
now?
what I'm saying? I mean, that's word. So we know that in the marriage situation, it's a weight behind being concerned for your wife.
Yeah.
Paul said,
But
"I would
just
that you be like I and be single."
Hmm.
What you got, Marcus?
Yeah, he got some.
no.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, yeah, I knew that scripture before. That's why we need to lead with love, right? I don't get to take a break from my marriage. That's till death do us part. That sentence, that passage, that scripture didn't say I can do it my relationship, but only when I feel like it.
No, it doesn't.
When,
It doesn't.
when
That's
I'm
not what I
ready.
was saying.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So explain break. What does a break mean to you? Maybe that's where we got it. Like, to me, break don't mean I don't love you no more. It means today I'm worried about
doesn't.
you. So
do you not make sure that your wife is taken care of before you?
absolutely.
So you didn't. I don't know. I don't call it a break. Individualism can be very scary in a partnership.
Say
When
that
you
again.
start
Say that again.
individualism can be very scary in a partnership.
Define
Because
individualism.
I am my own person inside this marriage. I'm going to do my own thing inside this marriage.
Woo.
I am going
Okay.
to be an individual. That's why independence does not work in a marriage. I'm an independent. Why do you need me? It doesn't work. It does
Agreed.
not work. Then why am I here? Why am I here? It opens a door that some people can take too far. Now, hey babe, I'm just taking a break. I'm going across the street. Hey babe, next week I'm going on to the next county. Hey babe, I'm going on vacation to the Bahamas. It opens a door that people tend to walk way too far down.
Woo-wee.
So here's the question, though. Like you said, when you lead with love, the love of God constrains us. So when you have love, no matter what you do, there's constraints that are already established because you do love them. And so that's the question. So yeah, if you are truly loving someone, no matter where you're at, you'll never not be conscious of their well-being. And no matter where you go, the love that you have will constrain you. So the question is, like you said, going back to the love, you got to have love from the beginning. You always gotta have that. If you don't, then you shot anyway.
You have to have love from the beginning, but you have to have consistent love. Imagine if God loved us the way some of us love people, right? We cut people off so fast, so quick, without no kind of second thought. Imagine
that ain't
if
love.
God, exactly.
That
So-
ain't love. And see, we got to understand, and I'm going to cut you off, but I get excited about that, is because we tend to think that there's that every time I use the word love, that's what it is. But we got to realize what you just said. We got to have consistent love. God is love. You don't have to even say consistent love, because we got to understand, when I say love, It's from a standpoint that it is the agape. It has to be the agape. And even in the Greeks, they had 5 different words for love: the eros, the filio, the erotic. You had 5 different ones because they understood that we have to communicate love in such a way that there's different levels. And so, am I agapeing you or am I eros you when we talk about love? Eros means it's just conditional. You do for me, then I do for you back. So when I say love, which love do you mean? Do I love you like a brother or a sister? Or do I love you until death do us part? And it's going to show and that will be always present if that's the case.
Yeah,
Always.
it's levels to it. It's definitely levels to it. But back to your point, Marcus, when you said individualism is scary in a marriage, and Tonio, you made a point that I agree with. It's just like, how can you, how is it scary when that's how you came into it in the beginning? Like I said before, we are both individuals, right? So there is no partnership without, two people coming together. So it's just like, what's so scary about being individualistic in a partnership?
Just like I said, not everybody walks down that line, but some people can walk too far out of the relationship. They can start doing things without their partner. They can start, if you're an individual, why, again, I asked the question, why am I here? Why do you need me? You're just here when it's convenient for you, and then you just go on break. Oh, I'm taking a break from the relationship, so I'll see you next week. No. No. Yes, we are an individual, but we come together as one.
Right, but we I'm sorry, we also have the individual things. So it's just like, okay, your men activities, you want to hang out, with the guys, go shoot basketball or whatever. I want to go out, to dinner with my girls. Those are not activities that we necessarily have to do together.
Nope.
That's where the individualism come into play.
But it can be a problem if you only go to dinner with your girls and not your husband. It can be a problem when you only go to activities that you only do with your girls that you don't do with your husband. Yeah. Just like that's a problem. Right. Like I said, you're going places. Hey, babe, you went to Belize with your girls, but you taking me to Chick-fil-A. Well, that's a problem.
Right.
You're starting to do things on your own because you want to do this. What are you doing with your girlfriends that you can't do with me?
Oh, wow.
But you see, that tells the story already that there's no love. So I think when the creeping into individualism, it's not a creeping in. You came in never loving that person. You took a vow, you entered into a relationship, but your motive was never love. And all it is exposing itself. How could you even do that unless you don't love that person? There's no way I'm gonna be running around and never take my boo. That's not love. That can't be. Now, maybe there's some relationships they cool with that. That's the way that's their perspective, that's their perception. But that ain't the love that I would want to roll in.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
But you see it a lot, though, and someone just commented that that's a huge issue. You see a lot of people who are married but living a single life.
They just married. They got the title, and that's it.
The other thing with that too, I said we got to be careful of how we allow social media to interrupt our relationships. And what I mean by that is sometimes we may see that single woman that married woman in all these pictures that, hanging out with her girls on social media, but not know what her married life is behind closed doors because he might not be the social media type. So stop looking at what's going on social media all the time and judging people, which we shouldn't be judging people anyways. And even talking about, well, she out here. Well, her husband clearly ain't one that's on social media, so you don't know the other side of the story.
Wow, that's good.
We so quick to say social media, everything, we base everything off of social media, and we can't base everything off social media because people literally post what they want you to know about their lives on social media. I call Facebook fake book because a lot of people are faking it till they make it, which it doesn't even exist. Well, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But you got a lot of people who are out here Facebook stunning and want people to be able to. This is my life. This is the glitz and the glamour. This is and y'all broken and raggedy and all this other stuff. And y'all wishing y'all had some of these things, and you don't have them because you're lacking love for yourself first and foremost to be able to receive the love that you desire to have. So you make it up. You put it all on Facebook like it's everything.
Wow, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I think social media is just like a highlight reel of everybody's, best moments. It's not to be taken as this is who this person is.
Right.
24/7. A picture can only say so much. We post, like you said, what we want people to see. And if you are, judging people or trying to get to know somebody based off of social media, then that says something about you.
Indeed.
What does that say?
That says that you're impersonal and you are putting yourself in a position to kind of judge only on one side of things. So when you meet somebody, you get to know somebody, you're talking to them to get to know them. You know what I mean? You're able to have that conversation, not just scroll through pictures and comments and try to piece together what it is that you think this person is saying or doing or whatever. Like you are actually allowing that person to express themselves, ask questions, give you answers, that type of thing. It's not just, oh, I'm just going to assume she's this type of way or he's this type of way based off of social media.
We're going to keep this party going. This is a really great question. We're going to wrap it up with this one right here. Hopefully you guys are ready for it. Do you see your spouse or significant other as an individual?
Wow. Absolutely. Absolutely. And come on. They have an identity and a purpose from before I even met that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when a lot of times when people get into relationships, they shred their identity in order to be with the person. And the more they do that, the unhappier they become. And when the relationship fails, because it will, because they're going to be unhappy because they're not themselves, they're going to now have to come back and try to find the pieces of who they were. And that's what you see in these divorces all the time, because they stayed with people way too long. They kept staying and kept thinking, well, if I change this about me, if I change that about me, if I change this and I stop doing all these different things, if I stop going out with my boys, all the things I love to do to make you happy. And now you're still not happy. I'm not respecting who you are. I need to let you flourish and water you and plant the seeds in you and speak life into you so that you can grow and blossom. And I'm going to grow with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I got to see who you are. And then again, match the vision. How can two walk together except they be agreed? So I need to know my vision. We need to know your vision. Then as individuals, we can come together. We're walking together. We're in the same vibration. We're in the same path because we both see the same thing. So I need to know what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. Marcus?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you see your significant other or spouse as an individual?
Absolutely. I see my partner as a individual, yes. And to the clarity doctor, to the clarity doctor's notion, yes, people sometimes tend to get absorbed into their partner. And so as men, as leaders to the home, we have to be very mindful of that. Your partner had a vision before the start of this, and to continue to make sure that as a whole we're moving together and our individual needs and desires and passions move forward as well, because that can lead to a selfish nature. If one partner starts getting absorbed in, you see it in ministry. That's the best example. You see the husband or the wife start taking off in ministry and the other partner is just kind of trailing along, and their needs and their desires no longer get met. They're not being satisfied mentally because their partner is on the road, their partner's away from home, their partner's on travel, their partner is public speaking,
Come
and
on.
they're, chauffeuring, or they're picking up the kids, or they're
Right.
not being met sexually because he's on the road, because he's away. I am no longer being satisfied because your time is taken up. So as men, I'll speak to men for a second, that we have to make sure that everyone's needs are being met, and to not forget why we got started in the first place.
Yeah. You mentioned ministry, and the first thing I thought about was Church Unplugged. So we'll be bringing that back. But that's so true,
Jeez.
because you see these, especially the leaders, the pastors, first ladies, how those relationships are just right there in your face and out in the open, and it's obvious to see where one is unhappy
Yeah.
Yep.
because of the strenuous role of the pastor and the things that are expected of him. And there's definitely a role that the lady in the relationship has to play, the first
Yes.
lady, and it probably includes, I don't know, I've never been a first lady, don't desire to be, but it probably includes diminishing some of the things that she would rather do. And she may be very vocal and want to be in the spotlight, in the forefront, or she may not, and she's forced to be. So that just
Yes.
causes that person to be in an uncomfortable position,
Yeah.
because they literally have to just kind of lay down whatever it is in order to be present for what their spouse is doing.
Yeah.
Running a church, being a leader in the church, that's full time and then some. So it's a lot that comes with that. And and outside of that, outside of church, and just like a regular relationship, like Tim was saying, we were all, have our purpose and the things that we were supposed to do and meant to do before we got into the relationship. So as individuals coming together, you have to respect that of that other person. If, he or she wants to pursue certain things, and as they were probably doing before you two got together. But I know also being in a relationship and kind of putting your gifts on the forefront can be hard on the relationship sometimes. It's the little things over time, such as the creativity and genuality, not even a word. Taste how this continue to be the building bricks for love that you have for your spouse or significant other. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. And that is like the qualities that you have will allow your spouse or your significant other to appreciate you more. You know what I mean? So it would be not the thing to do to make them suppress some of the things that they want to do. I think that's just selfish. And like Tim said, it will lead you to not being happy, not being yourself, not being able to be, who you are in that relationship. Right. So definitely respecting the individualism in relationships. And that's kind of what I was getting at with the other question as well. I think it's important because it's so easy to lose yourself. Very. Relationships. And
hard to find yourself.
Right. Definitely. And you want to please this other person. So, the individualism is definitely important. Hold on to the things that you love, who you are, the things that, you were passionate about before the relationship started. Just kind of keep a grasp on that. That's my little spiel on individualism.
Okay, Marcus, what's the difference between individualism and individuality?
The pronunciation.
Because for real, I want to know, like, because I heard her say individualism, but in my mind I thought individuality, so I don't know.
Individualism, and it's the same.
Okay.
That's the analytical IT.
Leave it to Tim to ask the question.
I'm just saying.
It's the same.
I'm just saying.
The same thing.
That's that whole let your significant other be the individual that they are. That right there. That's what that is right there.
Yeah. Well, somebody should look that up, Takara, because individualism, it sounds like a a sect, a movement
Mm.
where everyone is moving in a state of just me. It like be quiet, Liz. That's
Hmm.
individualism. That sounds
She
like a
got you.
movement. You know what
Oh,
She
I'm
got
saying?
you.
But individuality, I don't hear that being the same. I hear individuality just means you have a uniqueness about you that's separate and different. Look up individualism. I bet you. Look here. Every word got meaning.
Somebody call somebody in the research department and tell them to look up.
Right. Y'all
right.
need an R&D. Anytime y'all hear something, y'all need to look. This is what individualism means. But I'm just saying.
Right. No, yeah, I get it. I definitely understand, Tim. I'm a word person myself, but yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
I think your relationships are more fruitful when you allow for that person to be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if some of the things that they do embarrass you,
Thank you,
or,
Liz. Oh, my bad.
or
Sorry. She
uh,
put the definition. My bad.
you want to read it or you want
No,
to
no, go ahead. Keep talking. I'm sorry.
finish. Okay. Um,
Mm.
oh, I lost my train of thought. Darn, good.
You were saying it allows the relationship to be more
Yeah, thank
fruitful if
you,
you're
Isha,
an
for
individual.
listening. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
The
Love
squirrel, the shiny red object.
whatever. It allows it to be fruitful because the thing is that they bring something to the table that you don't. And
Mm-hmm.
there's something about them that you're gonna love, or they can get on your nerves, and then they do that thing, and then you're like, okay, it allows for you to shake yourself off and shake yourself loose, and allows for you to just
Mm.
enjoy them being who they are with their quirkiness or whatever it is that they, bring to the table. It allows for you to get over your humps and your places of maybe frustration or whatever. But allowing them to be that individual, it's huge because somewhere in the relationship prior to you, they weren't able to be free. So keep that
Mm.
in mind. Being
Mm.
who they are allows them to exercise freedom, So embrace that. It doesn't mean that you have to acknowledge all of their quirkiness, but don't be so judgmental. Let them be free to be who they are.
Being narcissistic, I know that happens
Mm.
sometimes in a
Mm.
relationship to where
That
it's just
part.
like you're not right unless you're like me. Like, you're not what I want to be. I can't be happy in this relationship unless you do the things the way that I want you to, how I want you to, when I want you to. Like
Mm.
that definitely happens, but you'll find it to
Mm.
be way less, strenuous to just allow the person to be. You know what I mean? There's somebody that you're in love with, that you love. Why nitpick and argue about every little thing, that they choose to do? Like you said, their little quirky things. Looking up word definitions in the middle of conversations, that
Indeed.
type of
That
thing.
type of stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm just playing, Tim, but
Wait a minute, I
anyway,
wasn't listening. I was reading the direction. What'd you say?
See?
I was focused. What you talked about me and I missed it.
She
Sorry.
hit you with some shade.
Catch it on the replay. Catch it on the
I'm an
replay.
individual. I ain't hearing you.
but yeah, that part, we love them anyway. So that
Indeed, we do.
just let people be. You know what I mean? It'll make sense.
You
It
know
makes
what?
the relationship fun.
Right.
It does. Like I said, you might be in that funk, and maybe you do that quirky thing, and you literally just let you just like shake it off and be like, it ain't that serious, because now you laughing at them. So
Mm-hmm,
it
mm-hmm.
shifts the energy.
Absolutely.
Oh, hey, Jason.
What up, Hoskins? There's a difference between. Thank you.
Jason,
See? Y'all on it. That's my dude. See? I ain't the only
don't
one.
encourage that behavior, Jason.
Oh.
My queen is, and I'm not just saying that because thank you, babe.
I love it. Okay, so closing remarks about this subject. Marcus, well, I'm going to let you go first. Anything that you want to wrap up this topic with? Words of wisdom. Anything-
Always
any-
lead with love.
There we go. Lead with love.
Always lead with love. in these traumatic times and hard times, especially now, start with love. Try love. We give everything else a shot. We get frustrated, we get angry. Try love sometimes. Give that a shot and give that a go, and always put that first, and you'll find that you'll get a better result. Love your wife, love your neighbor, love on each other, love people, and it will come back to you. No one has ever gone broke from giving or giving too much.
Ooh, ooh. All right. Okay. Come on, the love clarity doctor. What you got for us?
Got
Wow.
him.
All right. So you done messed me up, Marcus. In the words of
Sorry.
Jason Hoskins, there's a difference between individualism and individuality. No,
No, you're dead serious.
no. I would say love qualifies itself.
Hmm.
It qualifies itself. It needs no credentialing, no qualifying. If it's love, you're gonna know it. And I think a lot of times we try to do all this extra stuff to define it. Just step back and look. Is that love or not? It's gonna
Mhm.
qualify and let you know. And then just it.
That's good.
That's it.
That is true, Tim. I would definitely say, but some people don't know what love is or what it's supposed to look like. So they may think that they're displaying what they know, what love is, what love to be for them. And it's just like that's where that learning and breaking down and building back up has to take place. It's just like a lot of people you would expect them to know, but like I said, everybody didn't grow up with that example of what love is.
You know, that's why we learn hate before we learn love. We go through dark before we go through day. We
Hmm.
always start so that we have a reference point. If we
Mm.
got love first, we wouldn't even recognize it as love. So eventually we know through just living life. Yeah, they didn't know it, but after they've been through all the hell, once they get love, that's it.
A
You know
baby
what I'm saying?
isn't born with hate.
Huh?
A
They're not
baby,
born
a
with
baby,
anything,
they're not born with hate.
but they
But they
go,
are taught
Th-
at
yeah.
an
It's not
early
hate
age, and
first.
it's perpetuated throughout. And it's just like you have to grow through that in order to know, okay, this is not the right way. After you've, been through so many situations or abusive relationships or whatever, failed friendships, to know that okay, this is not right. This is not what it's supposed to be. I don't like how this feels, and then you get to learn because we all didn't start out like. If you can think back to your first relationship, you did some things that you probably regret, or you went through some things that still stick with you today. You've been traumatized by the lack of knowledge about love. So as we continue to grow, and learn what it is, we can better show it to one another. But it's definitely a process, and like Sam said, you got to take the good with the bad, the dark and the light. It's just like you appreciate it more having gone through the process of knowing and finding out what it is.
Absolutely.
So, if I had to say anything, I would definitely say to honor and respect the person that you're in a relationship with.
Hmm.
Um, the goods, the highs, the lows, all of that. Some things may not make sense within relationship at that moment, but if you allow for yourself to love that person, just to grow through whatever moment that they're going through, the light at the end of the tunnel was so much worth it because you guys are both on the same page and you guys are on one accord on that journey together. And
Hmm.
so just allowing for time, patience, love, all that to be able to carry you through, instead of you placing these barriers. Because a lot of times we place them out of fear, we place them out of what we've seen, we place them out of experience. Um, well, mama did it like that, so I need to do it like that too. Well, mama said that if he does this, this, and this, and I should leave. If that, so we have to individualize our relationships according to our own identity, not according to what we've seen generationally. Because a
Mm.
lot of times, generationally, they've just only been on model and repeat mode, not
Whew.
wisdom into the model and repeat mode. And so we have to understand that and be very conscious of that. And so be very mindful of who you're in relationship with. First, understanding who you are and what you bring into the relationship, and always being open to maneuver and change your thought patterns. Just that open perspective. It's really huge, because if you're closed-minded, you're going to continue to hit your head like this in a relationship. And somebody ain't gonna want to continue to hit the head with you. Real talk. That so being very mindful of what energy and how are you viewing the relationship, and be willing to change and shift. Who you are today isn't going to be who you are tomorrow, and that's okay. But you're there with that person. So if you're committed to the relationship, you should also be committed to the growth in the exchanging of energy and perspective and perception around who you're in relationship with. It's huge.
Definitely.
Bam. Yeah.
Bam.
Well, we definitely hit on the points of
don't throw your phone. Vault Talks Women Share is not responsible for lost or broken phones. Okay.
Exactly.
Computers, iPads, tablets. No.
And you just got a new phone, Joy, so don't go your phone. But anyway, definitely hit on a lot of good points throughout this conversation. This was a very rich conversation. And just thinking about the segment, the Love for Real segment that I usually do every fourth Thursday, we've all talked about a lot of points. And the main thing is, it's just like loving yourself, knowing who you are. Like, you definitely have to love you. And I made a post earlier saying nobody can love you like you can. If you can't love yourself, you don't, like, what do you have to give to someone else? If you don't know who you are, somebody is able to come in and tell you who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So definitely taking that journey within yourself. Even if you are with someone already, allow each other to do the individualistic work, so that when you do come together, like Tim was saying earlier, we both benefit. And it's just, having love and respect for your partner, as Takara was mentioning. So, I mean, that just makes it that much easier. That takes all the guesswork out of the whole relationship. Everything boils down to love and respect.
Absolutely.
So if you're able to do that, a lot of things are canceled out. I don't care if you're in the middle of an argument or whatever. If you know this is somebody that you love and you have respect for, then there's certain things that you won't do. You won't allow it to go, to a certain extent. So loving yourself and respecting yourself, and loving and respecting your partner, it'll take you a long way.
Absolutely. Well, this has been an amazing show. Thank you, the Clarity Doctor, aka Timothy Moore, Marcus Norman, the Love Doctor. Okay, we see you. Okay, that's what Liz said. Okay, love the name change. Okay, all right, we see you. So every first Thursday we have the Coaches Huddle. So we're going to be talking about thriving versus surviving next Thursday, hearing it from the coach's perspective and what that looks like. So we thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next Thursday. Peace.